"You worthless woman, good for nothing. If only you had given me a son, I would have overlooked every single fault of yours. I'd never have complained again. But even that, you failed to do." My husband hurled these words at me with such ferocity that he pushed me. I stumbled out the door and fell hard on the ground. Standing right there was my daughter, Zara, whose innocent face had grown far too accustomed to seeing me suffer. She had witnessed me being beaten by her father in the past. Today, once more, I saw tears brimming in her eyes, and my heart pounded, knowing everything this child had already endured. Yet the greatest shock came when I noticed what Zara was holding. It felt as if the earth shifted beneath me. She approached, clutching something carefully in both hands, and said, "Here, Mom, take this." My husband had gone back inside at that moment. Whatever small item she had brought, it was as though it held the potential to change everything. Welcome back to our channel. Today's story is one of heartbreak, resilience, and an unexpected gift that transformed an entire family. Make sure you watch till the end to discover how a single act of innocence reshaped our future. I often wondered if I had been a bad daughter. Was that why my parents married me off to a man who treated women as nothing more than childbearing machines? A man with no respect for them? Perhaps my failings as a daughter led me to a household where I was constantly belittled and disrespected. But if I had been a bad daughter, I didn't want to be a bad mother. By the time God blessed me with a second daughter, my elder daughter Zara had grown a little older. I was determined to send her to school, despite all opposition. My mother-in-law sneered, "What good is passing 10th grade going to do for her?" But I had no intention of stopping at 10th grade. Zara was naturally gifted in her studies. She performed well, but the daily abuse I faced from her father was taking a toll on her young mind. My husband argued with me constantly. After 2 daughters, I seemed incapable of getting pregnant again, and he started calling me barren. One day I retorted, "If I'm barren, how did these 2 daughters come into existence?" He snapped back, "A woman who only bears daughters is barren. A real woman completes herself by having a son, and you can't do that." From that point on, it was as though my husband searched for reasons to pick fights. Still, Zara kept excelling in every grade. Even my mother-in-law's taunts over Zara's schooling turned into grudging silence when they saw her results. I never believed Zara could bring trouble upon our family, but the day her school principal and the police arrived at our doorstep, I was shocked. Earlier that morning, my husband's aunt and cousin Farah came to visit. Farah was the woman my mother-in-law had originally wanted my husband to marry, and now Farah had 4 sons. My mother-in-law never let my husband forget what could have been. "Look at Farah. You'd have been the father of 4 sons by now if you'd married her. And yet here you are, not even blessed with a single boy. In fact, it doesn't seem you'll have any more children at all." She then suggested something that made my blood run cold. "You could still divorce your wife and marry Farah's younger sister, Lena. Their family is known for sons." My husband replied, "Mother, she's 10 years younger than me. Also, I can't just leave my wife. She's the mother of my daughters. If I divorce her, what happens to them?" That was the first time he'd ever voiced any concern for our daughters in front of his mother. But my mother-in-law just kept pushing. "Take your wife to a doctor. If the doctor says she can give you a son, fine. Otherwise, marry Lena and finish this matter." That night, when I confronted my husband, he said, "We're going to the doctor. If it's possible for you to have a son, I'll wait 1 year. If not, I'll marry Lena. That family only produces boys." Hearing those words felt like a knife in my heart. Overcome by anger, I said something careless. "Oh, so Farah's and Lena's children have a different father? Is that why they're guaranteed to be boys?" My husband saw it as an unforgivable insult. He struck me so hard that I fell outside the door. My eldest daughter, Zara, was right there. In her tiny hands, she clutched something that made my head spin. Zara looked at me earnestly and said, "Mom, this is what Dad wants. Now he won't scold you anymore." My mind reeled. I had no idea what to do. Terrified of what my husband might do if he saw this, I told Zara to say I'd gone to my mother's house if anyone asked for me. My mother's home was just 1 house away behind my in-laws. I ran there and handed over the small bundle Zara had brought, a baby boy. My sister-in-law had recently had a child, so she had spare baby clothes, diapers, and milk. She was kind enough to help me, though confused about where I had gotten this baby. With a trembling voice, I told her, "I'll explain later. Just keep him safe for now." When I returned home, my heart was pounding so hard I could barely concentrate on my chores. My husband had left in his anger and wouldn't return until late. That's how he usually dealt with his fury, by stepping out and avoiding me. As I tried to gather myself, my neighbor Sabine suddenly showed up. She was known for gossiping all day and neglecting her own home and family. She greeted me casually and asked if I was busy, stepping straight into the kitchen. I couldn't muster a warm welcome, but she didn't notice. She was too eager to share some scandalous news. Sabine took a seat and said, "I have news that will leave you stunned. Do you know the girls' school in our area might shut down?" I felt a jolt of panic, thinking, if my husband hears this, he'll immediately pull Zara out of school. I asked her why. She replied, "A huge incident took place at the school. One of the teachers went into the bathroom on a fateful day, and suddenly she was heard screaming. Terrified, she ran to the principal, claiming there was a baby. When they got there, the baby had disappeared. People are now saying it was probably the result of some immoral behavior. A girl must have left her newborn there. But we have no idea who took the baby or where it went after that. Everyone in the neighborhood is talking about it." As I made tea for her, my heart started to pound. I fought to remain calm, worried my husband would use this as an excuse to forbid Zara from continuing her education. But Sabine was thrilled by the gossip. She continued, "I actually don't care if the school closes. My own daughter failed 2 subjects. Better to have her at home and get her married off. At least I won't have to pay for her schooling." Rolling her eyes, she took the cup of tea from me. "Oh well," she sighed, "I need to visit a few more houses to spread the news. It's not like my daughter or your daughter did anything wrong, so what's the harm?" I tried to warn her. "This is a serious issue, Sabine. Spreading rumors can lead to trouble." She dismissed me with a wave of her hand. "Don't worry, nothing will happen to me. I'll just tell the others so they're aware of what's going on." And with that, she breezed out, leaving me more anxious than ever. I dreaded what might happen if Sabine learned we had the missing baby. Her loose tongue would twist the story beyond repair. That evening, as I went to check on Zara, I saw her standing alone in her room, glancing at her own stomach. When she noticed me, she stood upright, as if hiding something. I asked gently, "What's wrong?" She replied, "Nothing, Mom." I pressed on, "Do you realize what you did by bringing that baby here?" She nodded tearfully. "Dad always yells at you because you can't give him a son. Now we have a son, so I thought maybe he'd be happy and wouldn't hurt you anymore." I was so afraid for her that I scolded her harshly and even slapped her. She cried all night, saying, "Mom, I just wanted to help you." I shuddered to think what would happen if anyone discovered Zara had taken the baby from the school. They would label her the baby's mother, and our family would be disgraced. Silently, I prayed that no one had seen her carrying the baby. If they had, the rumor mill would have already exploded, and Sabine would be the first to spread it. That night, I couldn't sleep. My husband, noticing me awake, hissed, "Why are you offering extra prayers now? Are you begging God for another pregnancy? Anyway, the doctor isn't available tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you there to find out once and for all what's wrong with you." I just replied, "Only God can decide my fate. If there's a child in my future, so be it. If not, I am at peace with that." He shot back, "So you're giving me permission to marry again?" I sighed, "You never cared for my permission before. Just remember your daughters if you make that decision." To my surprise, he said nothing in return. Morning came, and my worst fears took shape. Our gate opened to reveal the school principal and the police. My heart froze. My husband returned home at just that moment, and I trembled, imagining the accusations that would unfold. However, my husband calmly invited them inside, asking, "What brings you here?" They turned to me and said, "Your daughter was seen taking a baby out of the school washroom. That baby disappeared. We believe she's the one who took it. Where is it now?" My eyes brimmed with tears. They assumed Zara was the baby's mother, who had done something unspeakable. The principal added, "Because of this scandal, We might expel your daughter to protect the school's reputation. One bad apple can ruin the entire lot." Right then, my husband did something I never expected. "You're in my house, accusing my daughter without a shred of proof," he said. "We'll go to the hospital to settle this, and if it's proven that my daughter gave birth to that baby, do what you must. Otherwise, don't you dare cast false blame on her." He turned to me and said, "Get the baby. Tell Zara to come with us. We'll resolve this once and for all." Gathering every ounce of courage, I went to my mother's house and brought the baby. My sister-in-law had clothed and fed him, and he looked peaceful, unaware of the storm around him. We all went to the hospital. Tests showed neither Zara nor anyone in our family was related to the baby biologically. The principal and the police stood mortified. They had no case. My husband warned, "From now on, if anyone dares speak ill of my daughters, they'll face me. We found the baby, and we'll decide how to take care of him until his real parents come forward." The police then told us, "Fine, we'll leave the baby in your care until we locate the actual parents." Even my mother-in-law demanded to know why we were keeping this mysterious baby. My husband skillfully deflected her questions, refusing to let her meddle. Night fell, and I was still holding the baby in my arms. Zara sat close by, and my husband walked in. Fearing he might lash out now that the police and principal were gone, I braced myself. But instead, he asked Zara softly, "My dear, why did you bring this baby home?" She answered in a trembling voice, "Dad, you always hit Mom and make her cry. I thought if we had a son, you'd stop being angry." My husband's eyes welled with tears. He pulled Zara close and said, "Yes, this is our baby boy, your little brother." I was stunned. I broke down in tears as relief washed over me. My husband looked at me kindly, silently telling me he held no more grievances. We named him Ryan. We had no idea then who his parents were, but after a few weeks, the school found out and revealed that the baby's mother was none other than Sabine's daughter. The same Sabine who spent her life gossiping, never minding her own home or her child. Her entire family vanished overnight, leaving all their belongings behind. Ryan stayed with us. Over time, my husband's heart warmed toward him, loving him like his own son. My mother-in-law still complained, but my husband told me to ignore her. 2 years passed. My husband insisted I focus on my health. He had found what he wanted in Ryan and also began treating our daughters more kindly. He provided for them, played with them, and even laughed with them, things he'd rarely done before. From the moment Ryan joined our family, blessings seemed to pour in. My husband's earnings increased, and a sense of peace settled over our home. Ryan learned to walk and talk, calling me Mama and my husband Baba. Seeing him toddle across the room filled our hearts with joy. It's true what people say. Sometimes the things you pray for don't come in the way you expect. My husband had longed for a son, and we got Ryan through circumstances no one could have predicted. Zara, in her innocence, brought us an unimaginable gift. Her impulsive action set off a chain of events that changed our lives forever. So now, I ask you, did we do the right thing by keeping Ryan, or did we make a mistake? If you enjoyed our story, please subscribe to our channel and be sure to hit the bell icon. Stay tuned for our next video. In the meantime, stay happy and stay healthy.